Back before shows like Naked and Afraid.
Life Below Zero.
And Alone. Bushcraft was considered more of like a redneck hillbilly engineering thing. And then the COVID-19 bug-out scare occurred and the term became more of a household word. Pioneered by the greats like Bear Grylls, Donny Dust, and Gray Bearded Green Beret, over time things started to get a little more complicated. Though most of us are generally totally up for some scantily clad, cute girl clickbait.
It's 0 degrees in March. I go outside and position my tire on my wood stump. I get my splitting axe called a maul.
And some overly engineered MacGyver type projects. In this video, we'll get back to what we can achieve with just a simple saw, scouting manual, and basic bushcraft knife. Back in our rooftop tent loadout video, some interest was expressed in these guys. And though we do have a couple of these pre-prepped, we'll take you back to the beginning and show you how to get started. You're basically just looking for the Y, where the branch meets the main stalk. Something you can generally find on some deadfall without having to injure a living tree. You can take and bust the one end off generally. Some of this other stuff you're gonna have to probably cut into with the saw. Clean up your environment you're gonna be working with as best you can with just your hands. Easiest way to brace wood for cutting in the wilderness is to put it behind your knee as a vise. And then you can cut freely while it keeps stable. I've done this before, I swear. Now that you've got that done, let's shave off some of these little outcroppings that are going to get in the way. Now that that's all cleaned up, let's go ahead and chamfer some of this rough breakage. Get rid of that point and give it a nice rounded edge. We decided to cut it down a little bit to make it more manageable and fit in our pack. Next thing you're going to need is some paracord. Take and deploy. Measure it out enough to span the length of the upward ascending stalk part of your hook. Just roughing a wrap, take and cut off your paracord. Burn your end closed so that the little stringy bits inside don't come out all over the place on you. That's all done. Let's get to the handled part of our paracord. This one we're going to do kind of a wraparound base cord, which is a lot harder to explain than it is to just show you. But you're going to want enough to do this to wrap all the way around your hook and back over. Let's call it about there. Take and granny knot the ends. They'll work as stoppers. Start what's called a straight lashing. Go ahead and make a bite in your line, just as long as the base area of your hook. And start your wrap going from the top up here down. Now, once you get 2 or 3 wraps in, we're going to set what we're going to call our base loop. Line up the 2 granny knots you've tied in this guy along the spine of the hook, and then continue wrapping all the way down fairly tightly to the end of your bite. Once you're all the way down and nicely dressed, you're going to want to take this little tag end you have left, pass it through your bite. Take and pull on the other end up top, and that will pull it up and under your main wrap. Take your knife, cut off the excess. Depending on how secure your wrap is, you might want to take and weld these little end parts to your main wrap. And so your little hoop on the back is adjustable up to the granny knots. For this application, we've made it long enough so we can just wrap it straight around this bar. Run your hook through it, and you've got a hanger. Should we want to add one of these shorter hooks onto the bar, we'll take and make what's called a soft shackle. Basically, length of paracord, double granny knot stopper. Take the bite end, fold it down over top, you've got a lark's head knot. Well, completed once you pass it over your bar. Take and pass your doubled up granny knot through the lark's head. There you go. Works great for hanging bags and general camp gear. Can also be used on a ridgeline, around a tree, and so on. Another great basic is something that's been called a tri-stick. And this is where you practice your chamfering, which is basically just rounding out the edges and point on the end of a stick or project. Your feather sticking, which makes for great kindling fire starter. Divoting for making pulleys and such. Just a bit of skill honing practice that we used to do in the train yards while waiting for our line to leave. That's about it and all for this video. So please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that hype button. And come back and visit us next time for more stuff.
They don't like us. They don't like us. They ain't gotta like us.